Hello, everyone. This is your girl, Tiffany Renee. This is Fame with Tiffany Renee. If you are new to my channel, hello and welcome. Welcome to the family. If you've been here before, welcome back. I appreciate you so much, and I'm so glad that you are here. On this channel, we talk about metaphysics, quantum physics, everything that's kind of esoteric and things that has to do with the mind and the development of the mind and the body and our spirit and our connection to the higher power, infinite intelligence, and the universe. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Leave me some comments if you have any success stories, or if you want me to talk about something specific, if you want a specific topic you want to hear about. And I'll try to get some videos out that you want to see. And in the meantime, I do have other things coming. I have a Patreon that I'm going to start, and I have a website that's going to be coming soon. And we've got some cool things on the horizon where I'll be talking about my concert experiences, and I'll be doing an ebook about that. And I'll also be talking more about, the spirituality and then metaphysics and how, I guess, life unfolds in a very particular way, and how we can maybe just try to get more into the flow of that, just based on my own personal life experiences and understandings. So, without further ado, I want to talk about something that has been, I guess, on my mind, and it's something that has been coming up a lot in my particular reality, and that is the idea of states of consciousness and states of beingness. Now, if you're familiar with Neville Goddard, you'll know that that's like his core foundation is what state are you in? What state of being are you in? Like, who are you being? And it's a quite fascinating question, because I don't think it's one that we ask ourselves very often, because we're probably not even always aware, if aware at all, about our states, and that we are constantly shifting from state to state to state. We're looking at ourselves and thinking of ourselves and us making assumptions about ourselves and expectations that we have about ourselves and of the world around us. And it all dictates what state we're in, what state of being we're in, what state of consciousness we're associating with at that time. And whatever state of consciousness you are, whatever state of being you are at that time, you're going to get a reality that reflects that state. Very similar to what Vadim Zeland in Reality Transurfing, he talks about timelines. And also in Frederick Dodson, Parallel Realities of Self, again, different timelines. You're constantly weaving in and out of different timelines, because even according to Einstein, there's really no such thing as time. Time is like a construct that was kind of created by man for organization. And there really is no time, because there's only the present. There's only now. And Eckhart Tolle has an awesome book called The Power of Now, where he really dives deep into the fact that there's only the present. The present moment is the only moment that ever exists. And there's not a past and there's not a future. It's all the present. Because whatever happened yesterday was now when it happened. You know what I mean? And whatever happens tomorrow, well, when it happens, it would be the present. It would be now when it happens, So there's only now. It's just present moment after present moment after present moment. And what keeps the past alive is our memory, right? That's how history stays alive. That's how history, as people say, history repeats itself. Well, history isn't actually repeating itself, as Dr. Hugh Lin, he's passed away now, but he created the Ho'oponopono method. And he has a wonderful book with Dr. Joe Vitale called Zero Limits, and I highly recommend people read that book. It's pretty awesome. Or you can listen to the audiobook. It's phenomenal. And he even says that there's no such thing as the past. It's just our memory of it. And so we bring it with us in our memory. And I think that's my understanding of states of consciousness. It's this traveling, this weaving in and out of different timelines, of different states of being. So I guess there's like a gnat here, and I don't know why it's here. But there's like these different states of consciousness and states of being that cause you to experience certain things in a very particular way, including yourself. Like, you know what I mean? Like, whatever state I'm in up here is going to determine what I think about myself out here, and what my outside looks like, what's going to be reflected back to me. And there are some really awesome metaphysical coaches and authors that really, they're heavily focused on states. Manifesting with Kimberly, great channel here on YouTube. She talks a lot about your states and getting into the state of consciousness that you want to be in, your state of being. The Rosie Life, Rose with the Rosie Life here on YouTube, she also talks a lot about states. Tom Karen with Be Something Wonderful, a lot about states. It's all about moving into the state of consciousness, moving into that state of being, to embody, to assume that you already are what it is that you want to be, or you already are the person or the version of you that has that thing. Juliet Cleary also is a great resource talking about states. And Joseph Murphy mentions it as well. And so does Florence Scovel Shinn. I'm becoming more and more aware that this state of consciousness thing, it's 100% valid, my personal experience, because I've experienced it. I've even experienced it in real time, and I know many of you have as well. And maybe you just didn't know what to call it, or maybe you just didn't have a name to put to it, or what actually to call that experience. But your state of being and your state of consciousness truly dictates your life in the world around you. It reflects back to you what that version of you believes to be true, possible, what that version expects or assumes to be true. Whether it's positive or negative, it doesn't matter. Your state determines everything. Your state allows you, to me, which is like one of the biggest gifts that we could have ever been given by God, is the gift of choice. Your state presents you with your choices. You get to choose based on your state. Each state is going to present you something different. Each state is going to present a different life, a different timeline, a different life experience in general. But you always get to choose whether or not you want to stay in that state that has presented this to you, or if you want to move to a different state where it might be presenting you something different. I'll give you an example. I'll use SPs. Now, I'm using this example based off of observation and other people's experiences and experiences that I've had like over a decade ago when I was having SPs. So if you have an SP and it's like, I gotta be with this person, this is my person, I love everything about this person, we were together briefly for 6 months and then we broke up, and he said we're not compatible, and or she said that you're just not really my type, and I just we just can't get along, or you're really not what I want, or I just want us to be friends, or whatever, fill in the blank. Okay, but you just can't let that person go. You just can't get that person off your mind. Okay, you are adamant, you are sure that this person is your person. Okay, so you have two options. You're presented with the situation, which is, okay, I have an SP who I'm not currently with. Okay, that's just information that you've been given, right? Your 3D has just presented you information. The universe responded to whatever was happening before, and this is the result. You're not with your SP and you want to be with your SP. That's the information, that's the data that has been provided to you. Now, what are you going to do? You have a choice. You have a choice to move into whichever state you feel is best for you to move into. Do you feel that it's best for you to move into the state of being where you accept the fact that you and your SP are not together? You accept that they told you that they don't love you and it's never going to work, or you're not rich enough or cute enough or skinny enough or thick enough or whatever. Fill in the blank. Are you going to move to the state where you accept no for an answer? And that's fine. That's fine if you do. Okay? Mind you, there's no right or wrong answer here. I'm just trying to prove a point to you here. I'm just trying to prove a point. There's no wrong answer. You can choose that. You can choose to move into that state of being. Now, that state of being is then going to put you on a timeline where all of that no stuff is solidified because you've now chosen it. And you are now going to be placed on that timeline where you get all types of evidence to support the no-ness of this relationship not being a thing, not being loving, not being healthy, not being everything that you want it to be. Like that person not being the version of them, okay, that you really want them to be, or that you want to be with. I'll put it that way. That is a choice. That's a choice. Or you can choose to go into the state of, I am the all. I know my I am power. I know that everything that I experience in this reality is simply a result of what state that I'm in, the thoughts that I'm thinking, what I'm imprinting onto the quantum field. Like, it's all me. So if I know that, then I know that there's infinite versions of me. And I know there's infinite versions of my SP. And I know on some timeline, somewhere, my SP has a state of being that they've moved into, and they love me. We're happy. They appreciate me. We have the best relationship ever. That version of them, that state of your SP actually exists right now. We're not changing. We're not changing this SP at all. We're not imposing anything. We're not trying to force anything. You're just aware that there's this version that's like, no, this ain't gonna work. And then there's this version simultaneously that's like, you're the love of my life. You okay? So the choice is yours to decide which state are you going to choose to walk in. Are you going to walk in and assume this state of the no? Or are you going to assume yes and walk into this state of I know that we're together? And that's the state that I'm choosing. That's the timeline that I'm choosing. That's the version of my SP that I'm choosing. I'm choosing the version where we're together. That's the timeline I'm choosing to experience right now. Once you choose, the other timelines fall away. So if you accept the no, then that lights up, so to speak. That timeline is lit up. It is activated. And all the other ones kind of fade away. It's just like if you play a video game and you're trying to pick your person, like the fighter that you want to be, like on Street Fighter or something, right? And you see they're all lined up. Okay? For like player 1 and player 2, it's time for you to start selecting it. Let's say it's like 12 different fighters. All 12 pictures of the fighters are on the screen. And then you can keep flipping through. Okay, do I want this one? Do I want Chun-Li? Do I want Ryu? Do I want Kid? Right? You just keep flipping through. But the minute you click on one, the minute you choose your fighter, the minute you click on Chun-Li, all the other fighters, they black out. And then Chun-Li comes to the front and she's the big one. That is how it works when you select your timeline and your state of being. My understanding. Okay. You've just selected one option out of all these other options. And all the other options just dim and go fade into the background. And the only timeline that's highlighted is the one that you have selected based on the decision, based on the choice that you have made when it comes to who you want to be. What state of being do you want to be in? What assumption do you want to make? What do you want to affirm? What do you want to decide to be true for you? Do you see what I'm saying? And that goes for every single solitary thing on this planet and beyond. That is how life works here. There are no exceptions. Whatever you are experiencing, it is because that timeline is what is highlighted. You lit up that timeline for you to be experiencing that, for you to be witnessing that, for you to be seeing that, for you to be having whatever's going on. I'm not saying it's your fault. There's no blame here. There's no right or wrong, because all possibilities exist simultaneously. So if something negative can happen, something that shakes you to the core and brings you to your knees, guess what? There's a multitude of other timelines that exist right now where that thing does not even occur. Where the environment, the circumstance, the mindset, the memories, whatever, are not even there to even cause that ugly thing to even transpire. Do you see what I'm saying? Because it all exists. The worst of the worst probability exists, and the best of the best possibility exists right now, because there is only now. You have to simply choose the state of being that you want to be on. Choose your own Choose your own Street Fighter character. Light up your own path. You have to light up your timeline with what you really want to see by looking at only what you want to see. Even if you cannot physically see it with your human eyes, your imagination eye, your imaginal eye, which is what Neville Goddard talks about a lot, the imaginal acts and how imagination is reality. Your imagination is sufficient. That is where all your creation happens anyway. It's in your imagination. You have to imagine it first before it becomes material, right? So if you can use your imagination to place yourself on an alternate timeline, in an alternate state of being, then guess what? Everything around here, everything that you see, everything that's in your world, in your environment, at your job, in your city, in your country, in your personal life, every element will start to shift. Whatever it is that you want to see, that part of your life will be shifted. If you want to see yourself, sorry, that one snuck up on me. If you want to see yourself with your specific person, then you see yourself with your specific person. You see yourself with the version of that person when you're together. Who cares about what's happening right now? That's going to fade away and fall away anyway. You're now lighting up that timeline where y'all are happily together and you both exercise your own free will to do so, because that version exists already. There was no changing anything. There was no changing the world. There was no changing people. There was no changing the government. There was no changing circumstances that you don't like. There was no changing, any injustices. There's no changing anything, because they all have a right to exist, because they all do exist. What you see now exists in a bunch of worst case scenarios and a bunch of best case scenarios, but they all exist simultaneously. They all exist right now. The question is, what are you focusing on? What are you looking at the most? What are you believing the most? What are you adhering to the most? What are you saturating your mind with the most? What thoughts and beliefs are you accepting the most? What do you claim to be true the most? What do you believe to be true the most? What are you expecting the most? Are you expecting goodness and wellness? Are you moving into that state of consciousness where no matter what, all good things come to me? All good things are coming to me all the time. All the time. I only see goodness in the world. I only see goodness in my home. I only see wellness. Or to quote Abraham Hicks, well-being abounds. There is only well-being. There is only love. There is nothing else. And you can either cut yourself off from the well-being, or you can embrace and welcome the well-being. But the stream of well-being never stops. This is according to Abraham Hicks. The stream of well-being, the stream of love never stops. You're either going to be in love or you're going to be in a lack of it. Everything is love, because everything is all connected. Everything comes from the same source. So you can either receive it or you can shut yourself off from it, depending on where you are on the spectrum. There's no right or wrong answer here. We are where we are. Sometimes we're in the state that we want to be in certain aspects of our life. Sometimes there's other areas of our life where we're probably on the lower part of the spectrum that we do want to kind of shift out of. I have them. There are some areas in my life where I know I've assumed the state of consciousness that I really want to be in, where I can get what I want, or where I can see what I want. I can experience what I want in certain areas of my life. And there are other areas of my life where my state of consciousness is lighting up timelines where I'm getting things that I don't want, where I'm seeing things that I don't want to see, when I'm experiencing things I don't want to experience. But guess what? I'm doing it all. You can't come and change my timeline for me. You can't change my state of consciousness for me. Nothing on the outside of me can do that. Nothing on the outside of you can do that. Only you can do that. And everything is a choice. I just made a video about that the other day. Everything is a choice. You choose what state you want to be in. You choose how you want to perceive anything that's being shown to you. You choose how you want to interpret anything that's being presented to you. You can always choose, because everything is non-biased. Like, the universe is unbiased. Like, there's no bias whatsoever. There's no bias in energy. There's no bias in frequency. There's no bias in the universe. Dare I say, in my personal opinion, God is not even biased. So the only bias that exists is in the human mind. We create biases. We create separation. We do that. And I'm learning that it's a part of it just creates more suffering. The more we try to split ourselves off or deny our oneness, is the more we split ourselves off, the more separated we feel, and the more we suffer. If you want for others what you want for yourself, then you know what you would be asking for yourself. You know how you would want your life to be. You know what kind of experiences you would want to have. And so, because we're all one, you can wish that for your fellow man. Do you see what I'm saying? It's all a choice. If someone cuts you off while you're driving, you have a choice. Are you going to just take a deep breath and say, well, they just must be in a hurry, and let it go? Or are you going to roll down the window, give them the middle finger, try to drive up and catch up with them, try to be... You know what I'm saying? You know how we do sometimes, right? You already know. Okay, like, what are you going to do? What state are you going to move into? Are you going to move into the state where you're easily annoyed and people can get under your skin like that? Or are you going to decide that you are the version of you, you're in the state where you're unbothered, where you understand that people are going to people, and it has absolutely nothing to do with you whatsoever. You know what I mean? And you can be at peace with that. It's a choice. It seems trivial. Like, okay, that's not a big deal. But whether it's trivial or it's on a global scale, there's always a choice. You can choose to engage in anything you want to engage in. You can choose to jump on any bandwagon you want to jump on. You can choose to subscribe to whatever you want to subscribe to. It does not matter. You are simply making a choice. Even if you think that you don't have a choice, you always have a choice. Tina Turner, bless her. Tina Turner actually had a quote that I came across that said, I'm kind of paraphrasing, but basically that exact thing, where she said, you always have a choice. You know, and that's kind of like the power is knowing that you always have a choice. Even when you think you don't have a choice, you always have a choice. Even if that choice is to just think a positive thought. That's from Tina Turner. Okay. Go on Pinterest, because the actual quote is on Pinterest, because that's where I came across it. But I'm paraphrasing. But that's pretty much what she said. I may have messed up some of the words, but basically, she said, even if your only choice is to think a positive thought, if that's the only choice you have, is this thing happen? Am I going to think a negative thought or am I going to think a positive thought? Even if that's the only choice you have, you still have a choice. You still have a choice because that's just moving you into a different state. And the more you practice that, of course, the easier it'll get. And then that'll just ultimately be your natural default state. You know what I'm saying? We're always growing. We're always changing. We react sometimes. We're human. You know, stuff gets us riled up and gets us upset. But even in those moments, I've had them myself, really low, down in the dumps, anxiety, depression, all that, even recently. Even in those moments, I am aware that I still have a choice. If I'm laying in bed depressed, I still have a choice. My choice was I'm just going to still lay here in bed depressed, or I'm going to get up and at least make my bed today. I went on a walk, this spiritual trail in Indianapolis, and I ran into this lady because I couldn't find the trail, and I felt like I was walking for forever. And you know, I told her I felt like I just needed to be out because it's like a nature trail. I just needed to be out near the trees and find this river or this brook or, you know, part of the canal, and just try to breathe and decompress and go by what they call like the meditating tree and stuff like that. And I said, I just feel like I just needed to clean up my energy somehow because I was really depressed and I had been feeling like that way for a couple of days. And I was having a hard time pulling myself out of it. And I said, this is the first time I've been out the house, like, you know, like in 2 days. And I felt like I just felt my intuition say, you need to get up and go out, you know, and go and walk on that trail. And I've known about it for a couple of years and I've never gone. But it popped in my head, like, you need to go find it and you need to go drive out there. You need to go and take that walk. And that's when I met this cyclist, this lady. And I was kind of telling her a little bit about my situation, my story. And I said, yeah, I barely was able to get out of bed today, but I got out of bed and decided to come here and do this walk. And she said to me, and I want you to know that took courage. And it touched me. And like, I started tearing up. I started like about to cry because I never looked at it that way. She was like, you made a choice. She said, you made a choice. And that took courage. You chose to get out of bed and to come here. And it took courage for you to do that. And I was just like, wow. So that's what I want to leave with you all. Sometimes it takes courage to make choices. It takes courage to know that you have a choice, even when your 3D reality is showing you or is making it appear that you don't. It takes courage for you to look at something and say, I see you. I see this situation. And I can respect its right to be there, as Tom Karen says, because it exists. It is a possibility, but it's only a possibility. It is not the possibility. It's not the only one. It is a possibility. It's not the only possibility. So I am now going to choose a different possibility that is more conducive to who I am and what I want to see and where I want to be and where I want to go. It takes courage sometimes to do that because we all have been swept up and swept away in the status quo and what, you know, the masses do and think, and just kind of following along and get caught up in the current. It's easy to do that, especially nowadays, you know, when everything is at your fingertips, when all everyone's thoughts and information is just on social media, and you can immediately see what people are thinking, what they feel, and whatever, positive, negative, indifferent, whatever. So it's really easy to get swept up into that current, that, energetic chaos current. And so it takes you being courageous and being mindful and being adamant about making choices, about you choosing what is best for you, for your life, for the people in your life. You get to make that choice. No one else gets to make it for you. There is no out there. Remember that. Everything is internal. What you, to quote John Assaraf from The Secret, what you think about, you bring about. It's all you. Whatever state you move into, you're going to be receiving the harvest of whatever that state brings. We got this, okay? It's I don't want this to sound scary or overwhelming or anything like that, because we make choices. We're constantly making choices. We make subconscious choices, okay? We're always making choices. Every second is a choice that we're making. Think of all the choices that you make in a day. You can choose to make your bed or not make your bed. You can choose to brush your teeth or not brush your teeth. You can choose to eat breakfast or not eat breakfast. You can choose to cook breakfast or grab something from McDonald's. You can choose to have Starbucks, or you can choose to break your own coffee. You can choose to take the long scenic route to work, or you can choose to take the shortcut. You can take the highway. You can take the back way. Think of how many choices that we make in just one day. Thousands. We literally make thousands of choices a day. You're trying to get home from work, and then all of a sudden somebody says, hey, let's grab drinks, at this restaurant. You're making a choice. Do you want to go home and take a hot bath and decompress? Or do you want to go have drinks with Ann from the office? Right? We're always making choices. Even down to what am I doing for dinner? Am I going to cook dinner? Am I going to pick up dinner? Am I going to heat up something from the microwave? Am I going to eat leftovers? Choices. Like I said, I know it seems trivial, but these are legit choices that we make daily. Do you see what I mean? Everything is a choice. Everything is a choice. Even if the only choice you have is a positive thought. I'll leave it there with that lovely Tina Turner quote. Thank you all. I didn't intend for it to be this long, but that's just where I am right now in my life. I'm really trying to be more mindful about my choices. Choices that I make, choices that I think, and choices that I make about myself, about others, about the world around me. I'm really working on being more mindful and making sure I'm shifting into the state of consciousness that I really want to be in. Because I know there's a whole lot of versions of me that exists, and I definitely want to experience the best version of me and the best version that me has to offer, and the life that version of me has created for herself. And I want to see the world through the eyes of that best version of me. So that's what I'm doing. That's where my path is taking me. So we're going to get there together, okay? Because you all have your highest version of you. Your best version of you already exists right now. And I guarantee that we've probably already met them in certain areas of our lives, and we just didn't know. So I'm trying to be there permanently. So come on, we're about to get it together, and we're going to elevate, and we're going to be thriving. We're thriving. We're living our best life. We're making wonderful choices, and all is well. All is well. Thank you all so much. Feel free to like, share, subscribe. Take care, and I will see you all in the next video. Alrighty, bye.